How was your day today? Welcome to the Why Is That podcast series, which begins with the question, why, and is based on the first principle thinking method. It aims to provide you with multifaceted perspectives on various life issues and to truly live with a vibrant spirit. Today's podcast topic will also begin with a question, why? Why do so many people often imagine the end even when something has just begun? We start a trip, but already think about having to board the plane to return home. Not long after starting a new relationship, we wonder how it will end. Even before paying for a carton of milk in our hand, we immediately flip it over to find the expiration date. Have you ever gathered with your family and loved ones, feeling vividly that the room is filled with warmth, joy, and happy laughter, only to suddenly feel a pang of melancholy, realizing that this happiness won't last forever? In the years to come, everyone will separate to focus on their own small families, or perhaps even leave this mortal coil. That's precisely what an invented word in John Koenig's Asterisk Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows describes. It's a term meant to convey the realization that our current togetherness will soon fade, and what is today will become this day in history. Many people tend to think about endings even before a story has truly begun. Why is that? Frankly, the reasons behind this tendency aren't too complicated. Deep down, it's often the mindset of sensitive people, overthinkers prone to catastrophic thinking. Perhaps in the past, they experienced traumas and emotional wounds that left them with an obsessive insecurity about the longevity of relationships, about joys, and a worry that these peaceful moments won't last forever. I myself often think about endings. Have you ever asked yourself, what happens when I die? How will I go? What will that scene be like? It's like the color of lingering sadness, a hazy, ethereal blur that drapes over objects in a picture, a layer of indistinct, faded memory. Perhaps combining these two elements creates a blend so gentle yet so profoundly sorrowful. I once asked myself those questions, and then images of those blurry, faded blue hues started playing in my mind. There was the sea, the waves, and seagulls. In the end, everything will eventually decay. Everything is merely temporary. That's the truth. The truth is nothing can last forever. Things will just disappear. Life is the same. Even these very podcast episodes will fade into oblivion. Just notice how many things around us vanish every day without warning. The old dog next door has been buried deep beneath the earth. The old street vendor no longer sits by the sidewalk at the end of the alley. Leaves have fallen from the trees. Autumn has ended. Our parents' black hair has turned gray. A church that has stood for a century and a half won't stand forever. An entire city can be forgotten after a few decades. Vibrant languages slowly wither until no one knows them anymore. The glorious feats of ancient heroes will recede into old books, and those old books will eventually turn to dust. Clearly, the impermanence of all things holds a terrifying fascination. Thinking about these endings weighs heavily on your heart and makes you forget something profoundly meaningful. That the things that have ended, are ending, and will end, all existed, were present, and will create value for this life. The old dog next door lives on in the childhood memories of the family's children. The old street vendor remains in the photo you took at the beginning of autumn. Our parents' black hair witnessed an entire part of their devoted youth. The church that stood for a century and a half, the forgotten cities, the vanished languages, the historical heroes, they all had to exist for us to be here today. All things are impermanent, yet all things are intimately connected. They are like dots joining to form lines, and these lines will stretch on for a very long time because those dots once existed. In the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, John Koenig also created the word FX, an adjective describing the disappointment you feel because you won't be able to attend your own memorial service. It's that uncomfortable, helpless feeling of spending your entire life trying to build a legacy for future generations, only to miss the opportunity to witness its beauty. This concept, let's call it effectless, is not merely a semantic mashup. It's a combination of the German word effect, meaning influence, and the English word less, meaning fewer or lesser. This coinage is also based on a true story. Franz Kafka was not famous in the literary world during his lifetime. For this reason, Kafka wanted all his works and letters to be burned immediately after his death. Fortunately, his close friend Max Brod managed to find a way to publish Kafka's works and bring his legacy to posterity. At that time, Max Brod was a big name, and his debut novels were hailed as masterpieces, while Kafka remained an unknown wanderer throughout the streets his entire life. When he died, he never imagined that his name would later be associated with his hometown city. The world at that time distinguished between the two writers, but posterity quickly changed that verdict. Glory, even if belated, can still reach those who have passed. A part of Kafka still lives on, existing for a very, very long time in this world. Honeybees only live for a few months at most, not long enough to experience the turning of 4 seasons. Perhaps that's why, for them, summer might feel like it will never end. Maybe they know they won't live long enough to taste every drop of that golden honey, yet the honey they create is something that doesn't expire. The sweetness they produce will last forever. Perhaps the buzzing sound they make is their way of telling this life, "Hello, we were here." The ultimate end of life is not death, but forgetting. As the animated film Coco once said, "My great-grandmother used to say that death doesn't exist. She believed we only truly die when others forget us." Yes, no matter what, please be grateful that we have existed as a necessary piece in life. Why is that? Is also grateful to have accompanied you on this long journey. How it ends, let's not discuss for now, because at the very least, we will still have each other in our memories. True death will ultimately occur when no one in this world remembers us anymore. I still often think about endings, but thinking about them has taught me a lesson. I will make that ending meaningful. I have been here in this life, and I have left some mark on it. I have lived, am living, and will live a life without waste. So now, when you think about endings, what will you do?